Hello and welcome to our Monday, September 22nd, 2025 lesson for Algebra 1. We're going to be working on book page 287. It would be a good idea to get your book ready for that. You are able to pause and even speed up this video. So if you need to slow down or repeat something, you are welcome to go however you would like to go on that and rewind, speed up, whatever you want to do. You're also going to need your packet for this lesson, and we'll start working on page 12. So I'm going to jump right into it. On book page 287, we are learning about creating linear equations in slope-intercept form when we've been given the slope and a point. So if you're given the slope of a line and the coordinates of any point on that line, you can create an equation for that line. So we're going to kind of be working in the opposite direction of what we've been doing in previous lessons. So step one, we're going to determine whether the given point is the y-intercept. If not, substitute the given information into the slope-intercept form equation to find the y-intercept. In step two, we're going to use the given slope and y-intercept you found in step one to write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. So looking at example one here, let's just see how that's going to look. We're going to write an equation, again, when we've been given a slope and a point. So they tell us the slope is -3/4 right here, and they tell us that the point is -8, 6. So I'm going to start off by thinking about slope-intercept form. If it helps you to write this out, that would be this. I would definitely do that. You want to write it out if that helps you. And we're just going to replace every element of it that we can. So normally we don't replace y and x when we're dealing with slope-intercept form, but in this case we have a point to put in. So I've got my x and I've got my y, so I'm just going to insert those into this equation here. So y is replaced with 6, -3/4 is the slope that we already circled, and x is replaced with -8. And we haven't figured out b though, so we're going to solve this now to find out what b is. So in this case, m equaled -3/4, x equaled -8, and y equaled 6. So when we actually start simplifying this and solving it, -3/4 times -8 is going to give us +6. So when I subtract this 6 from both sides, I end up with 0. b equals 0. So now we're going to rewrite the whole thing in slope-intercept form, given what we figured out. So y and x are going to go back to being y and x, and we're going to look at m here. M is going to be the same as it was before, so that's just going to be a simple -3/4. However, instead of b, we're going to write the 0 that we found. So we know that b is 0, so now we can just resolve this. Y equals -3/4 x. Normally you would have b there, but in this case b is 0, so we just got rid of it. Okay, moving on to our next slide. Now moving to book page 288 if you're following along. Marissa is baking a recipe that calls for her to turn down the temperature on her oven for a part of the baking time. Write an equation to represent the situation if the temperature in her oven drops 25 degrees every 30 seconds. And after 2 minutes, the temperature is 350 degrees. So let's start by filling in all the information we know. After 2 minutes, the temperature is 350 degrees. Let x equal, let's see, what is x going to be in this problem? Let's go back up to our word problem now. So we need to figure out what x is. That's going to be our input. So our input is time, and our unit of time is minutes. So we're going to say let x equal minutes. And y, our output, is the temperature in Fahrenheit. So the point, let's see, it says baking a recipe, then write an equation to represent the situation. So the point, okay, I see. After 2 minutes, the temperature is 350. So that tells us that x2 and y 350 is on the line. The temperature drops 25 degrees every 30 seconds. The change in x is 30 seconds, or half of a minute. Drops means a negative change. So the change in y is negative 25 degrees. The slope is the change in y over the change in x. You may recall I wrote this recently as delta y over delta x, change in y over change in x. And that's going to equal negative 25 times 2. Because to translate our 30 seconds into a minute, we're going to have to multiply by 2. So negative 25 Fahrenheit for the change over half a minute times 2 gives us negative 50 per minute. So the slope in our problem is negative 50 over 1. Again, you could also write this as negative 25 over 0.5, but typically we try not to have decimals in our fractions. It just makes things a little simpler. Okay, moving on to the next slide. We are on book page 288 still. So step 2 of this problem, we are going to find our y-intercept, something from earlier in the chapter. So we have slope-intercept form here, and we are going to insert our information that we have into this. So this is going to be 350 equals, let's see, x is 2, so we're multiplying that by negative 25, or actually negative 50, excuse me. It has to be negative 50 because we're doing by minutes here. And then we add our starting point, which we haven't figured out. So we're going to have to solve for that. So we have 350 equals negative 100. Excuse me, my pen went off on me there. Negative 100 plus b. I did negative 50 times 2. And when we solve for this, we add 100 to each side. And we get 450. So our oven temperature started at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. Step 3 is to write the equation in slope-intercept form. So now we're going to take this b that we found and we're going to insert it. So our m was negative 50, and that goes attached to x. And our b is 450. So that's our final equation. Y equals negative 50x plus 450. Now this is an opportunity for you to complete the check. I would like you to please pause the video and try to complete the check yourself. Once you've done so, we'll continue. Okay, hopefully you have completed the check at this time. So we are going to move ahead with solving it ourselves. The total monthly cost of Asia's gym membership increases by $5 per class she attends. So this is definitely telling me I'm going to have a variable right here, $5 per class. That's going to be multiplied. This is going to be my coefficient, and per class is telling me that I'm going to have a variable there, probably x. After signing up for 4 classes 1 month, her total cost is $49.99. So I'm definitely going to see $49.99 be my starting point. Insert for y there. So that's a point on our equation. And that's going to equal, so it's a cost, so it might be negative. We have to think about that. Which equation represents Asia's total monthly cost y after attending x classes? So she signed up for 4 classes, and it's cost, and the month is also cost. The monthly total here is also cost. So we're going to say 4 inserted for x. So y equals mx plus b. And we have $5 per class. This is a cost, and so is the monthly total, so I'm going to make them both positive. Now, is there a starting up cost? It does not appear that there is at the moment. Maybe there is. We'll find out. It's plus b right now. We don't know what b is yet, so we are going to solve for it. And so if there is a b, we will figure out what it is. So this ends up looking like $49.99 equals 20 plus b. So I subtract 20 from both sides, and we get $29.99 equals b. So it looks like the fee to start attending the classes was $29.99. So we're going to add that into our equation. We're going to end up with y equals, and see this number here, let me change the color there for you there. This number here and this number, they're gone now. Those were just a point that we were using to find the b value. Now that we've done that, we don't care about those numbers anymore. We're just going to use them y and x in place of those. So y equals 5x plus, and my b value I found was $29.99. All right, we are moving on to the packet, and we are close to the end here. 3 more slides. 5.1 extra examples. Write an equation in slope-intercept form. The monthly cost of Javier's cable bill increases by $4.99 per movie he purchases. Select an equation, and then after watching 3 movies in a month, we have to see we're going to use this information. 3 movies in a month, his bill was $93.97. We're going to use that to figure out what b is. So we've got y equals mx plus b. Let's go ahead and zoom in on that. So we've got y is 93.97 in this problem. We're just inserting for y here with this. We have m being $4.99 because it says $4.99 per movie. So it's going to be 4.99. And let's see if we can figure out what x is. He watched 3 movies. That's our input. So instead of putting x, I'm going to put 3 in parentheses. Make sure it's in parentheses. Now, I have plus b. I don't know what my starting point is. We're going to figure it out. So I'm going to multiply $4.99 times 3, which is going to give me 12, 13, 14. So it'll give me 14.97. And now we just subtract $14.97 from both sides. If my pen works, there we go. So we end up with $0.008 $79. And these cancel because they are the same number but opposite. So $79 is our starting point, so we should have that in our equation. So looking at these two that don't have $79 for b, these are wrong. Now these two do have $79 for b, so which equation is actually going to be correct? We have y equals 3x plus 79 and y equals 499x plus 79. Now if we think back to our equation, we used 499 for m, so this is going to be the correct answer. A is no-go. So that is that example, and let's move on to page 13. Write an equation given a point and a slope. So there is a way to use something called point-slope form for this, but we're going to figure it out in linear form, so slope-intercept form. So we've got our slope, so y equals mx plus b, and we're going to input our slope into it, so equals 3, and then we're also going to replace x and y with the numbers from our point so that we can figure out what b is. So I'm going to take my point, my x value of 7, because it's x, y, of course, and I'm going to insert that. So I'm going to insert 7, and I'm going to insert 4 for my y value. So now when I solve this, I'm going to get 4 equals 21 plus b. We subtract 21 from both sides. And now we have negative 17 equals b. So now I know what b is. We know what y, or we know what m is, because this is m. And we leave x and y as they are. So our final answer should be y equals 3x minus 17. And the 17 came from here. So this is our final answer. Now let's go ahead and do it for this one too. We have a slope of -1. So and a xy here. I'm going to do it again, x, y, and this one's m. So y, 5, equals m, -1, x, -2, plus b. And we don't know what b is, so we're going to find it. 5 equals, I'm going to go ahead and simplify the -1 and the -2 to get 2, plus b. And now we subtract 2 from both sides of the equation to get 3 equals b. So now that I have b, I have m, and x and y are going to stay x and y, I can go ahead and write out my final equation. Y equals -1 x plus 3, and the 3 came from here. It was the b. So this is my final answer. And we're going to go ahead and finally do this final one. Write an equation given a point and a slope. So we have 6, -2, x, y, m. And we're going to go ahead and insert those into our equation. Y equals mx plus b. And I'm going to replace everything I can. So -2 equals 1/3 times 6 plus b, because we don't have b. So now when I insert these, or when I simplify this, I'll get -2 equals 2 plus b. And when I subtract 2 from both sides, I get -4 equals b. So now I'm just going to write out the whole thing again. This is my b here. Y equals 1/3 x minus 4. And the -4 came from this b being -4. So that is your final answer. And now we're going to look at our final question. And we have the point -4, 3. So we got x, we got y, we got m. And we're going to go ahead and do our equation one last time, mx plus b, and we're going to replace. So -4 goes in for y, or for x, excuse me. -4 goes in for x. So I put in -4. For y, I put in 3. For m, I get 3 halves. And b is once again unknown. So when I solve this down, I get 3 equals, let's see, that would be 12 divided by 2, -6 plus b. And when I add 6 to both sides, we get 9 equals b. Now that's not our final answer. I shouldn't have boxed it actually. 9 equals b. So we're going to put b into our equation now. We get y equals, and m is 3 over 2 x plus 9. And that is the solution to the problem. Please remember homework 4 is going to be due tomorrow. So you're going to want to turn in homework 4 on Tuesday, the 23rd of September. I will be back. I will be reading the sub's notes. Please make sure that you've been kind to the sub. If you haven't been, make sure to apologize. Please come to me with any questions that you have from this lesson, and we'll try to make sure we review and move forward in the morning, or not in the morning, at the beginning of class on Tuesday. Have a wonderful day.